Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about, is a pension better than a 401k? So I was talking to a nice young lady today, and she asked me a quick question because I was talking about my job, I was talking about what I do for a living, and I said, yeah, I'm super excited about the possibility of having a 401k. She asked me, is a pension better than a 401k? And you see, the answer is not so cut and dry because it depends on what you want out of life, how you can access the pension or the 401k, and how it would benefit the lifestyle that you seek to achieve. And so, with my lifestyle, I essentially live the FIRE lifestyle, right? Financially independent, retire early. In order to retire early, you must be able to retire before the age of 65 because that is the retirement age. Most people, especially in my generation, they'll probably be working later than that, 67, maybe even 70 years of age. And so when it comes to being able to retire early, I always say by the age of 35, if you want to live that sort of lifestyle, you should be able to retire by the age of 35. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to retire in the States. It just depends on the quality of life that you tend to want to have. Maybe you want to live in Barbados. Maybe you want to live in Panama. Maybe you want to live in Nigeria. Maybe you want to live in the Dominican Republic. Wherever it is that you want to live, you need to have a set income coming in, a cash flow or a net worth that would sustain your life for its entirety for another 50, 60, or even 70 years, depending on when you retire, and medical advances in science as well, right? And so when it comes to a 401k, the thing is that most people don't really understand all the benefits of a 401k and also all the drawbacks. For example, did you know that it is possible to invest in a home with your 401k without having to have any penalties, any, that 10% early withdrawal fee, or any of the taxes associated with it? Yes, it is actually possible to invest in a property with your 401k, but that asset is also a retirement vehicle when bought with the 401k. So it is not something that is to be sold. It is not something that is to be transferred into other people's names. No, that asset is essentially a retirement asset as well. So you've essentially turned a home into a retirement asset. The only difference is now you can receive cash flow from the rent. You can receive increased rents. You can receive all that, but it also comes with maintenance costs. It also comes with tenants not paying on time. It also comes with additional headaches that you didn't have in the stock market, right? And so we'll move on to essentially some of those cons. Again, when you're not 50, when you're not 65, when you're not 67, if you decide to pull out of your 401k for whatever reason, kids my age will typically pull out of their 401k to buy a vehicle. An emergency happens. They need to. The only thing that I've never necessarily, and I don't judge anybody, but the only thing that I've never looked at and was like, you know what, that might not be the best or wisest decision, is when someone pulled out of their 401k in order to pay for a funeral. That was probably the first time I seen someone pull out of a 401k, and that was probably the only time that it was a justified expense in my estimation, something that I would personally do. But a justified expense to you is completely different, and whatever that is whatever that is. But for me, I don't see a justified expense as a car. Um, yeah, if you have kids, you need to take them to school, and then you got to drive 20 minutes to work. Guess what? I'm still going to take an Uber instead of getting a $10,000 vehicle, right? If you Uber for a year, you probably still don't spend $10,000. There's a lot of ways to get around. You carpool, you start paying somebody $50 a week, $100 a week, whatever the case may be. You work 52 weeks in a year. Guess what? You spent about $5,200. You still didn't spend $10,000. And so there's a lot of ways to live a life, and yes, that leaves you dependent on somebody else. And some people are very independent. They don't want to depend on somebody. But again, when it comes to getting ahead financially, there is never an excuse that you cannot overcome. There is a way. Where there's a will, there is a way, and it is up to you to determine if you're willing to do said thing in order to get to your destination. Sometimes it takes you carpooling. Sometimes it takes you Ubering everywhere, Uber everywhere, right? In order to get to where you want to be 3, 4, 5 years from now. Then you don't got to worry about maintenance costs. You don't got to worry about car insurance. You don't got to worry about gas. You don't got to worry about all the other things that are associated with that. And then you also build better relationships. You also build better people that you can trust and depend on. You also build certain things within your community that are actually very valuable that you may have mislooked. But let's not deviate from the topic. We're talking about the 401k and the pension plan, right? Now, if you have a company match, I tell people all the time that's free money. You go after it and go and get it, right? Max out that 401k if you can. That's going to be $3, $4, $5 million by the time you retire. Now, I think I'm Gen Z. In my generation, since I've entered the stock market, there has not been a down year in the stock market. All we have seen is stocks rise. So even if you're a rookie investor, it is almost near impossible to lose money unless you're just betting on penny stocks and new businesses that just formed yesterday, right? And so even if you just put all your money in S&P 500, you've been up every year on the year. And so it just makes sense that a lot of people right now are saying, you know what, the 401k is an amazing vehicle, this and that, because you have a decade of where it's only gone up. Now, why is a pension better for others? Well, if you get disabled, and similar to a 401k, of course, but if you get disabled, now you got that monthly income coming in, a fixed monthly income that you can depend on, that you can appreciate is coming in. And guess what? If you have other assets where you don't need that fixed income, similar to a 401k, of course, you can then invest that into other vehicles that will make you more money as well. So with the 401k, you're now drawing from this thing, and if you're drawing more than the 3% or 4% rule, you're really going to be depleting those funds in retirement. Most of these people are not savvy investors that are investing on their own. And so as they deplete that 401k, they don't have anything else to rely on outside of Social Security disability benefits. Right? And so as that 401k is withered down, most people are going to retire who are retiring right now have about $500,000 in their 401k. So they don't have the $3 million. They don't have the $4 million. They may have started late. They may have pulled out a few times. They may have made a bunch of rookie mistakes to where 10 years down the line, they're now doing Uber and Lyft in order to make ends meet and sustain the lifestyle that they've created for themselves. Whereas with the pension, you don't have to worry about, am I depleting this resource? Even if it's $2,000 and the 401k is providing somebody $3 a month, that $2,000 doesn't go away. So after 10 years, you still got however much life you're going to be living in order to reap the benefits of that pension plan. And so when I look at that, I can say, okay, if I'm at this job for 3 years and the pension is 10%, and I leave the company, I still get 10% of a pension coming to me for the rest of my life as soon as I click that box and say I want it now. If 5 years is 30%, then I get 30% of whatever it was that I would have got, and I got to do other things with my life in the meantime while that pension was just sitting there waiting for me to access it, right? 10 years and you're getting 100% or whatever the case may be. Now, if I decide to move on to do other things with my time, life, or energy, I know that by the time I'm 65, 67, as long as that company is still around, I'm able to draw from that pension. Um, and there is no, again, drawbacks to that because I'm not losing income. I'm only maintaining income, possibly even growing income. And the thing I love about being a finance bro and a savvy investor is that we don't rely on one income stream or two income streams or even three income streams. And so when that money starts to come in, it is just like manna from heaven. It's just extra sauce on the chicken that is just a blessing that just helps you to propel yourself in various ways. And so when you talk about financial security, what's more secure than a company that has to pay you for the entirety of its life, i.e. pension? But then on the other side with the 401k, what is more secure than saying, I'm going to do this myself? Companies fall every single day. They get bought out every single day. They change their ideals and policies every single day. How about I control a 401k that is going to be worth at least $500,000 and I support my family in retirement, right? And so with a paid off house, with a little bit of cash on the side, with a little bit of this, with a little bit of that $500,000, the way I'm structuring it, the way I'm using it, that 401k is going to do said person justice. The only difference is that they continue to put into that till they were 65, 67. They had to work. Whereas you might say with the pension plan, hey, I put in 20 years, I'm good. I'm 47, I'm 57, I'm good. Let me go and do something else. Let me go and grow my income on the Social Security side, tapping into this hourly or salary job here in this market. Let me do something fun. Let me do something slow. Let me do something different because I can. Right? And so you're trying new things in your older age that you may not have gotten to before, but you can do that because you already know that you're secure financially. Well before the age of 65, well before the age of 67. So what life do you want to live? There's no wrong answer to what life you want to live. Do you want to be someone capable of retirement early but still continuing to work? I had someone tell me once, he said, why do you work if you can retire? Why do you work? Well, why does Jeff Bezos work? Why does Elon Musk come up with new companies every 5 years? Why does Warren Buffett still invest instead of just sitting on the sidelines and allowing others to do it for them? Why? Why do all these companies that are multi-million and multi-billion companies still ask people to come into the office and work, still want to see everyone's face, still speak to the associate making $12 an hour? You see, when people have purpose, that gives them a reason to live. And so the money itself is not necessarily enough for me. It might be enough for somebody else who wants to vacation and have fun forever. But sometimes you have different emotions. You want to be serious. You want to solve problems. You want to be an innovator. As someone who was a manager and someone who strives to be an innovator within this life, it is almost a sad state of affairs that you would assume money would cap my ability, my inspiration, my drive to continue on, right? Most people who retire tend to just die in a couple of years because they have no purpose. And so, yes, I want to be able to retire early because I don't want the burden of having to work for a company or an employer that I may not like. I want the flexibility and the freedom to do as I choose. That does not mean that I will just stop working. Maybe I will take a year off, 2 years, 3 years off at a time because I can. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the train just stops running. No, we look for new ideas. We look for new inspiration. We look for different avenues in order to not only grow our net worth, but also grow our influence, grow our footprint within this world that we live in. And so what would be better for you? Do you think the 401k is a better option for you, or would a pension be more suited for the lifestyle that you want? Let me know in the comment section down below. How much do you need in order to retire, or how much do you want to have passively coming in month after month after month in order to retire like the boss that you are? Let me know, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.